Ooh. Hi and welcome everybody. I was just having a quick chat with Tim. We literally met 5 minutes ago. Tim, I know the only reason you came on the show is because you wanted the song, so you get the song. A quick hello and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Tim Schmoyer.
That was totally worth it. Thank you.
And that sneeze indicates you're allergic to my singing, which is kind of offensive.
Well, I think I hit the mute button right in time, so hopefully it didn't come through.
No, it didn't. You must be a professional of video, yeah?
I've done some video before my lifetime, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Well, today, Tim, we're going to be talking about YouTube sales, how not to ruin your channel by overselling, I would assume, which is going to be great. But before we go into that, I'm going to talk about my favorite topic. I always do this at the beginning. Your knowledge panel is absolutely brilliant. And if we can show that knowledge panel, in fact, your description, your profile comes from SEMrush. Google's pulling that in because you don't have a Wikipedia page. Although I do think you deserve one, frankly.
I have actually never even looked at this before, so this is the first time I'm seeing it.
Oh, right. Well, if you see down at the bottom there, it says claim this knowledge panel. You can claim it.
Yeah.
And then you can start asking them to make changes to it. And you can post, in fact, your news to it, which would actually be really good for you. You need to get one for you, if I may give you advice, for your YouTube channel as well, because then you can post lots of stuff to that. And so when people search for you, they will see that knowledge panel for you with the posts that you put up and the information, the photos that you want. And then for your YouTube channel, they were YouTube creators, they would then see that. I mean, I've done it for music groups before, and you can post this amazing stuff. I mean, I had a rock group, and I was posting stuff about the rock group and the music we were doing. Oh, nice. And it was a lot of fun. And I think it's good user experience for people. I think more people than you think search for you and your YouTube channel.
Probably. I have like everyone, so many other things going on.
Yeah.
Another thing I should be doing. So, yeah. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, another one. Well, and if you saw at the bottom, there were 3 or 4 people, and then I looked through to there, and you got 5 people. And if you go through to the next one, we've got a carousel, and these are the people that Google in its knowledge graph. That means you're in the knowledge graph. Google's understood who you are and what you do, more or less. And these are the people it associates you with. Do you think that's a good assessment of your peers?
It's close-ish. I would expect some people to be on there that I don't see, and there's other people on there that I'm a little surprised by. But yeah, I'm not arguing.
Well, I mean, I recognize Andy and Rand, and down at the bottom there, Neil Schaefer, who was on the show a few weeks ago. Not sure about all the other ones.
Yeah, I know most of them. But me and Gary, I don't know that Gary Vaynerchuk and I are usually put together, but I'll take it. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I think it's kind of this group of marketers. I mean, I was talking to Andrea Volpini from WordLift, and he's a specialist in this, and he was saying basically those carousel results are what comes up in the pages in the search results under your name. So if we look at the pages of those top 10 or 20 results, we will see all these people somewhere in those results, which is phenomenally interesting. So it's not so much people it associates with you, but people that are associated with your name in the pages that rank for your name.
Right. Yeah. So we do speak at a lot of the same events together, and we do a lot of videos together, and we do co-author a lot of guest blog posts for different people together. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Now, we're now going to quickly show your YouTube channel. I mean, I was stunned. 2.54 million subscribers. That's a blooming big number. How long did it take you to get those?
Well, that was not actually I've done work with them, but my channel is actually called Video Creators. Where we have 550,000, a little over 500,000 subscribers, reaching people who are trying to grow their audiences on YouTube. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
That's YouTube's official one, which is all their support videos, like on their support pages and everything, are embedded on that channel. So, yeah.
Brilliant. So you just made me look like a complete fool. I made myself look like a complete fool. Sorry.
Thank you.
But anyway, but 500,000, let's bring that number down. 500,000, that's a phenomenal number. And what you've managed to do is build that audience up, but not ruin it with the kind of sales aspect. Because obviously you're making money out of it. You've got that wonderful studio.
Yeah. We have 9 people who work here at Video Creators on my team, and we focus on just helping next tier, like next level creators, those who have some traction, 10,000, 100,000 subscribers already on their channel, and they're just kind of at that plateau. They're feeling a little stuck. They're like, how do I get to that million? How do I get to that 10 million subscriber mark? And so our niche is even more narrow than just YouTube creators. It's that the people who are looking for the next level strategy beyond the basics of like, how do I upload a thumbnail and where's the record button on my camera, right? The people who are actively already doing this. So yeah, so we work with them, help them take their channel to the next level and grow it, and ultimately spread a message that reaches more people and changes more lives while growing their business at the same time.
Right. Okay. Brilliant stuff. So, I mean, in fact, 500,000 is a phenomenally big number for a channel that actually aims at relatively few YouTubers. I mean, the number of YouTubers who've got 10,000 subscribers must be quite small.
Our target, our market is probably around 100,000 creators in the world total,
and they're all subscribed to your channel, along with their mother, their father, their daughter,
plus
their son.
More. Yeah, I mean, what happens is a lot of these creators, things happen in life. Like they'll subscribe when they're getting started, they'll subscribe when they're working on their channel, but then someone loses interest or they take another job or something changes and they just don't unsubscribe. So over the years, it's been more of a accumulation of passive viewers and subscribers, which is normal, especially for educational channels like mine.
What kind of percentage of 500,000, I mean, in your case or in general, would you think are going to be active? I mean, as you say, people subscribe and then lose interest, or they subscribe and they never really were interested, but they were so encouraged by people saying, subscribe to my channel now, that they subscribe, they forget about it, or then were never interested. What kind of percentage are we looking at for active subscribers?
Are you talking about my channel or just across YouTube in general?
Well, both. Let's start with your channel.
And my YouTube channel is pretty high because I've been doing this full time now since 2013. I uploaded my very first video in 2006 to YouTube and been an active creator on the platform, learning a whole lot about how this thing works and working with Disney and eBay and Warner Brothers and Budweiser and all these like brands all the way up to like creators who are just getting started. So we literally work with like over 200 clients every month on growing their YouTube strategy. And so in that course of time, now doing this full time since the past 7 years, that there's a high turnover rate of people who have this idea of like, I really want to grow my YouTube channel. I want to use it to grow my business, use it to reach more people or make money or whatever the case is. And then they get into it, just like starting a business, they get into it and they're like, oh, wow, this is going to be way harder than I thought it was going to be. I watch these other YouTube videos. They make it look so easy. And it's just like being an athlete, being a musician, being an actor or an actress. Like when you do your job really well, you make it look so easy, you know, like, oh, I would have caught that pass. Why? He's a professional. It's like, no, you would not have caught that pass. He's been training for, you know, his entire life forever. And so they make it look easy. And same thing happens on YouTube. People think, they get into it, and then a few videos later, they're like, ooh, whoa.
So a great YouTuber catches the pass every time, in inverted commas, as it were.
No, not every time, but maybe like 1 out of 10 times. Yeah, even established creators publish lots of flops, but people don't see the flops. They only see the success, and then there's a little tainted there.
Right. Oh, that's a question. If you publish a flop, what do? Do you leave the flop, or do you take it off and protect your reputation?
Well, I think we should first define what a flop is, because a flop, what most people think of is I published this and didn't get as many views as I was hoping it would get. And our strategy that we do with our clients is actually, let's design every single video we do to accomplish one specific goal. Not like what, unfortunately, a lot of marketers forget this principle. Like they'll do it on their website or other market emails or whatever. It's like the goal of this email is to convert to here. The goal of this page on our website is to convert into that. But then when they do a YouTube video, the goal of every video is to get 1 million views, get tons of subscribers, rank #1, go big on Reddit, get lots of comments, get people to share, get people. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. You can't do 15 different goals with one piece of content anymore on YouTube than you can anywhere else. So when it comes to like, well, what's a flop? Sometimes we're going to craft a piece of content that's only designed to engage our existing subscriber base. It's not intended to go big. It's not intended to be shareable. It's just intended to grow the know, like, and trust factors with the people who are already here. We'll publish that video, and a week from now, it's probably no longer getting any views, and relative to the number of subscribers and potential audience size, maybe it only got a fraction of the views, but that's okay. It accomplished this goal by deepening the relationship that with those potential customers, with those people in that amount of time. And so that video doesn't hurt you in any way. It's just part of the strategy.
Okay, well, sorry, that makes me think about blogs. I mean, I work with clients who have blogs. I mean, blogs are easy because you just write it and put it out there, whereas video, you need all the equipment. You need somebody who can actually stand up in front of a camera and not feel completely uncomfortable and kind of cringe up. And what they tend to do is say, okay, I've got a blog and I'll just write an article that I think is interesting today. And they don't even set any goals. Is that what people do on YouTube as well?
Oh, absolutely. All the time. Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, this would be a great video. Or they say, I saw so-and-so make a video similar to this, and they make it. And it's like, well, nobody cares about that video, or you didn't craft the content in a way that made it easy enough for other people to care about that content. So
right,
it could be a few different things going on there, but yeah.
Okay. And so, sorry, as a general, I mean, you were saying, you know, you've got a certain amount of active subscribers. I mean, on a normal channel, I mean, are we churning really quickly? Is somebody who subscribes today likely never to look at you again? You end up with like 10%, 20%?
Well, it depends on a few different factors. Number one, I know people hate the depends answers. Like, just tell me that. Like, don't tell me it depends. But
no, I love it. It keeps the conversation going. Then I don't have to think of new questions.
Like, just give me the freaking number. It depends on a couple of variables. So one would be the age of the channel. So the older the channel is, the more likely you're going to have more passive dead subscribers there. Not dead literally, but just inactive subscribers.
Well, some of them would be.
They might be, yeah. But just inactive subscribers. So the older the channel is, it just happens over time. The second thing would be we see that entertainment content tends to perform differently than educational content. So on an educational channel like mine, people will be more likely to subscribe because the video is helpful, and then but the next video that comes along is like, oh, I don't have that problem, and the next video like, oh, I don't need to know that, I already know that as well. And so they're not watching this they're not coming here to watch every single video. They're more like, I like this guy, I'll see what comes along next, and maybe something else comes along that helps me, I'll watch it. As opposed to an entertainment channel, which people are subscribing for a very different reason. And there, for an entertainment purpose, they'll subscribe, and they're far more likely to engage with the next video and the next video and the videos that come after, because it's this narrative, it's a story, or it's funny, it's entertaining, or whatever the case might be. And so they're a little bit more likely to engage. So that number tends to go up in terms of subscriber to view engagement ratios on entertainment channels versus educational channels. That doesn't mean one's better than the other. They just perform. It's
different demographics and different points of view from the people.
Different expectations for the content and everything. Yeah.
And I mean, you've got 500,000 subscribers. Let's say there's half of them are active. I mean, I don't know if that's the right number. Is there a way for you to actually reach out, and try and attract the attention of those 250 other thousand that have kind of stopped watching you?
Not very well. No, not really. I think it would be great. Most people don't think it'd be great, but I think it would be great if there was a way, like on email, you can scrub your email list and kind of get the open rates up and things like that. I think that would be great, but on YouTube or just social media in general. But most people hate that because they want that vanity metric to be as high as possible. Right. So they're looking for 1 million subscriber total who've ever in the history of my channel clicked that red button, even whether or not they're engaged or not, doesn't matter. They just want that million subscriber mark. And truth is, it doesn't really hurt your channel to have more passive subscribers on there. But it does kind of make numbers look a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, okay. And there's a question. I mean, do you recommend saying subscribe to my channel during every single show you do, or do you say that if the aim of the video is to get subscribers? I mean, because presumably you create specific videos to gain subscribers and other ones to push people through. Oh, you're nodding and smiling. It looks like I've hit the nail on the head here.
You're smart. You're on the right track. So in terms,
I'm giggling like a schoolgirl now.
No, you really are, because like most people will just say, well, I need to subscribe. Like the call to action on every video is subscribe, comment, like, and then visit my website, like or whatever, on every single video. And maybe we can talk about how that kind of, it's like shooting yourself in the foot sometimes. But to answer that question, we actually don't encourage our clients to ever ask people to subscribe. That is not a call to action that really fits anywhere in the recommendations that we make. And it's not because it's bad, but it's just because there's other opportunities, other actions you can ask them to take that are much more beneficial for your channel, that leads to explosive subscriber growth. That's not asking them to subscribe.
Such as?
Okay, so we got to talk a little bit about how the algorithm works in this make this for this to make sense. Very briefly, YouTube wants to favor. They're looking at a couple different things. One, they want content that's like, well, what do people watch when they're here? How much time do people spend watching a video? That's measured in watch time, which is like the main one of the biggest metrics that YouTube looks at when they're going to position surface or surface content around the platform. And that's just how long do people spend watching this video? If they spend 15 minutes watching this video versus 2 minutes watching a video, like they're going to learn like, oh, the person spent 15 minutes. This video is much better for them than this other person only spent 2 minutes, or this other content we could surface, right? So their goal is to keep people on YouTube as long as possible. So that's the first thing. The second thing they're looking for then is, well, then how does this video contribute to the overall viewing session on YouTube? So if we surface video A, people will stay on YouTube for another 10 minutes. If we surface video B, people stay on YouTube for another 50 minutes, let's say. And so video B is going to win all day long because that person's engaging with more content. They're seeing more ads, right? And subscribing more channels, things like that.
No, I've had this explained to me by Bengu Atama before, and you've actually explained it really well. It's kind of, if I might say so, it's dumbing it down to the level that you go, right, right.
It makes sense when you hear it, that like,
And it becomes a social channel. I mean, it becomes this idea of YouTube trying to keep you on board.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Is YouTube's like, we want to deliver the content that you want. The goal of the algorithms is to surface the right video to the right person at the right time. Okay, so how do they do that? Well, how long are people spending watching this content? That's how valuable they deem a video to be, not based on how many keywords is in the metadata, because people lie and use misleading data all the time. So YouTube's AI definitely looks at viewer signals instead.
Right.
Kind of like time on page in like Google World, for example. And then session time. And then the last thing they're measuring, the third thing, is viewer satisfaction, which is, okay, we got someone to watch this video, and then they spend a long time on YouTube watching it, but how satisfied do they feel at the end of this viewing session?
So they're filming my face and they look at the smile I've got after
They measure it in a couple different ways, but one is how likely, if we surface this content, how likely are you to come back to YouTube again tomorrow, or 2 days from now, or 3 days from now? Because the higher satisfaction is, the more likely you are you had a positive experience on the platform and you'll come back again. They measure that. They're also doing these satisfaction surveys right in your feed, and maybe you've noticed these before, but they're like, here's a video, and they ask like, what did you think of this video? And they give you a couple different emoji icons to click on, and you can say, hey, I think this was like at this level, and they'll like, why? And they're asking how satisfied you were. So they'll literally just ask people. And so
I also think, sorry, if we had a fourth one, people forget the scale that this is at. I mean, it's millions, billions of millions and millions and millions of people watching billions and billions and billions of hours of YouTube videos, and machine learning kicks in. And so they don't actually need to know if they satisfied you. They need to know as a group if they're satisfying people. So that whole machine learning thing takes it to a whole new level that we can't really understand. So it doesn't actually matter what I'm doing as an individual. What matters is what is the mass of individuals who are similar to me in one way or another are doing.
Yes, that's part of it. It does matter what you're doing because you're going to get a personalized experience on
Good point.
YouTube of suggested and homepage based on like what you engage with and don't engage with, what you click and watch and quickly abandon, which versus what you engage with. So that is all everyone's like when people say, and you know this, like when people say like, I want to rank #1 on YouTube. I'm like, well, okay, but literally, like let's both get on our computers do the exact same search, and we're going to have different videos in there. Even the search is very a personalized experience.
Well, interesting enough, and from my point of view, I mean, I come from the googly SEO kind of world where results are personalized, but on YouTube, it's much, 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 much more.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very, now that's not to say there won't be some videos that we both have in common, because when you do, I know we're getting a little bit off topic here, but because I want to answer the question.
We never got on topic, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to lead up to then how do we, what were we talking about? It's like, we had to talk about the algorithm in order to understand how this works.
How you get people to subscribe. You were saying you don't have to say subscribe. You need to get what you need to do is engage them in another way that will explode your subscribers,
which is to watch another video. Yeah. So what we do is we'll deliver content, deliver value. We're still holding their attention. And then what most creators do is they start giving all these signals to the viewer that this video is now over. You may safely abandon it. And they'll say things like, well, hope this was helpful. Let me know what you think. Anytime you say subscribe below, people are like, oh, video's over. And you'll see right in your audience retention graphs on YouTube, the data doesn't lie. It just drops.
It's a complete cliff. As soon as you say, thank you for listening, my name's Jason Barnard, please do remember to subscribe. It's already dropped off and everyone's gone.
And people do that because they're used to television. On television, they do the sign on, the sign off thing because there's another show coming. But on YouTube, there isn't another show coming. You want them to keep watching your show that really doesn't have an end. I mean, it might after they get to the end of your video catalog, but it really doesn't have an end. So, so at the end of our videos, this content is content, value, value, value. We're delivering, and then the end screens appear while you're still delivering value. The viewer is still there. And then if it's an educational channel, quickly, the best thing that we've seen work is to quickly give like a 10-second pitch for the next video you want them to watch. Let's say it's a cooking channel, and my favorite dessert that goes along with this, you guys will not believe this is going to complement this so well. I put together a short playlist for you. You can click right here. It's going to help you make 3 different dessert options that I know you're going to love. Click right there. I'll see you in the next video.
I like that.
So you don't say goodbye. Yeah, just keep talking. And then what happens with a lot of clients we work with, a normal click-through rate on unscreen is about 0.7 to 1% click-through rate onto another video.
Which seems quite small,
But now, not everyone, but we've seen it get as high as 42% click-through rate on the end screen. So now just imagine what happens.
Sorry, that's 42% people who get to the end screen click through, as opposed to 40%.
Yeah, we want to help half the people who click play. We want to craft the content so we get the maximum amount of watch time, which decent-ish is like when we can start getting half the people who click play who are still there when those end screen elements appear. So now they have the option to keep going.
Now, sorry, just quickly interrupt. We can come back to this. As you can see, I remember where we were, and we can come back. I'm getting quite good at that. I've done 150 of these, so actually kind of thinking that we were there and we can come back to. But that wasn't the point. You said there's this really great cooking recipe thing that I recorded last week. Please click there because I'll see you on that. Whatever it was, that was very badly done. I'm definitely not a YouTube star yet.
You learn quickly.
But what happens when I record that recipe after the first one? There's no way for me to add it on in any meaningful sense.
So the way that we do that in that case, if you're like, I'm going to make it, but it's not made yet, is we will still do that same verbal and visual pointing and call to action. But on screen, there might be a little box that says coming next Thursday or something. And so when the subscriber sees it, they're going to be like, oh, coming Thursday. Okay, I'll come back. But then when Thursday comes and that video is published, we just simply then put the end screen on top of that little box on the video. And now you can no longer see it. And now everything makes sense because most people hopefully will be watching this video for years down the road, not just for like the week delay between when you publish it and the next video that you want comes out.
Which then kind of leads me to the question is, obviously, let's say I don't know what I'm going to record in 3 years' time. Is there any use in me saying, And on the channel, there are lots of other things to listen to, hear or watch. Sorry, here are some amazing things. I'll see you on the next video. Just choose one because you're going to love it.
YouTube has an option called Best for Viewer, and you can put that up there and just let them decide which video on your channel is best for that viewer to watch next. Our experience has been that the click-through rate is not nearly as high when you just passively be like, here's something else for you, versus giving a verbal pitch that's clearly associated with the value that they're getting right now. And it helps them even more after this video than just being like, here's another random video. So
yeah.
it's,
no, okay. So I mean, the idea of being backwards compatible, i.e., looking at what's gone and saying maybe you'd like this, is great. But trying to be forwards compatible is really trying to do too much too soon.
Yeah, unless you know the video's coming within another week or two, then it's probably fine. But if you're like, I don't know if I'm ever going to make this, then no, figure out a video that's already in your library that you can pitch instead.
Right. Okay. So and if I've only got one video, every single, sorry, go ahead. Excuse me.
No, you're fine. Yeah, if you only got one video, then just grow the library and keep going and you'll get there.
No, I was just saying, I think a lot of people have that frustration. It was the first thing that sprung to mind is when I've just got my first video, it's kind of like you feel a bit pathetic and you're kind of saying, I don't have anything to present. I feel a bit...
What you could do is just point someone to someone else's video. Maybe it's not yours. It could be on someone else's channel. That still extends the viewing session, which still makes your video look good. You're not getting the additional watch time on another video of yours, unfortunately, but you don't have another video of yours at this point.
No, sure.
So you can pointing people to other content that's not yours is still it still doesn't give you the full benefit, but it's still much more beneficial than asking someone to subscribe.
But I mean, traditionally in SEO, we say, oh, let's not link out. And I like linking out. I think linking out is a good thing to do from everybody's point of view. And in fact, on YouTube, it can be said, but actually being useful and being helpful and linking out or pointing out other things is a positive signal because you're helping the user and helping YouTube, and YouTube will then help you. But the idea that you send a user to another channel, do you really think they're going to come back and subscribe later?
No, but when you only have one video, there's not a whole lot for them to subscribe for.
No, sure, no, 100%. Sorry, that's not what I meant. I mean, sorry, I suppose I was saying, is it worth recommending other content once you have enough videos, or do you really want to keep people in your channel?
Once you have, let's say 20 videos, I don't know, I'm making that up arbitrarily, but let's
20.
say you have
I'll go with 20
videos, and that should be more than enough to start interlinking your videos together this way. But if you have less than that, it's still more beneficial for you to keep that viewer watching more content and give a recommendation for someone else's video than it is probably get to them passively click a red button. Because the problem, what we started by talking about, is you can get a lot of people to passively click a red button, but that doesn't mean they're actually going to engage. That doesn't really help your video become as discoverable as instead increasing the viewing session, which when you get someone to start watching 2, 3, 4 of your videos in a row, YouTube's now just going to start putting other content of yours in front of that viewer. You're going to start showing up on the homepage. You're going to start being more suggestive. That's like the real power, I think, that YouTube has that doesn't exist as much on Google, which is YouTube will just put your video in front of the right person at the right time, even if they're not searching for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is push technology. I mean, they're pushing the videos to people to encourage them to stay in that social manner. But coming back one step, is you said interlinking, which sounds like something from, I was trying to think what film it's from. Maybe one of the futuristic films. Anyway, but it made me think of internal linking. And what you're basically saying is you can't internal link through the description in any useful manner for the users because nobody reads the description. What you need to do is consider your videos themselves to be this internal linking structure, whereby at the end of the video you're saying, here's another idea for you. So it's kind of a mixture of internal linking, recommendation in the way that YouTube does it,
all the internal linking, so to speak, that's my words, not YouTube's. They're all no follows. So from an SEO perspective, it doesn't really help that. But from a human perspective, like that's what the algorithm is actually trying to measure. And so when it sees that when we surface this video, I'm making up numbers. Let's just say 32% of them then go on and watch this other video that he recommended. Well, so you're soon going to see is that video is now going to be recommended to your video, even if they don't get to the end of the video. Right? So you can start making your videos more likely, it's not guaranteed obviously, but more likely to be surfaced next to each other. You'll be more likely to be suggested to your own content, and your videos are more likely to get surfaced to the right viewer at the right time when YouTube starts figuring out who's engaging with this content, who's not. So all that to say, instead of asking people to subscribe, instead get them to click and watch another video, increase the watch time on other videos, the viewing session, hopefully also increasing their satisfaction with your content by giving them more helpful content at the end. And that is where, when we start seeing explosive growth happen on channels, and by explosive, I mean, like we work with one guy, he's a men's fashion channel, and he was doing around 2,000 new subscribers per day, which is not bad, but he's like,
pretty big.
Tim, he's like, I know there's a lot of untapped potential here. I could be doing so much more. And so we worked with him for a few months. He was 100% completely in the keyword optimization stuff. And we're like, no, let's optimize our metadata for humans, not for robots. Let's drop some of these keywords, make it like, this is way more clickable. If someone saw that, your target audience would click on that every single time. And so when we started doing that, in 3 months, instead of doing 2,000 subscribers per day, he went to doing 39,000 subscribers per day. And he just blew past 1 million subscribers, 2 million subscribers, kept going. And 93% of that traffic was coming from homepage and suggested. A lot of people think of YouTube in terms of search, which it certainly is. It's, you know, the world's second largest search engine. So that's absolutely a valuable traffic source. But when you look at the different discovery opportunities on YouTube, search is actually a pretty small one, not insignificant. But when you can just get YouTube to start putting your video for the right person without them even looking for it, that's when explosive growth happens. And that's what we at our team, we focus on optimizing for that type of growth.
Right. Well, I had Jess Schultz, who was talking a few weeks ago. Really recommend going and listening to that video. It's really good. It's really well worth watching, because she talks about Google Discover and how Google itself is going that way with this idea of pushing content. Did you see what I just did there? I promoted my own video in the middle of this video to get people to watch that one. You see, I'm subtle. I'm good at this. And at the end, I've got Danny Goodwin coming up, and Danny Goodwin's going to be a great episode next week. So I'm maybe overdoing it right now because I get overexcited. There you go. The next week's episode is updating content as an SEO strategy with the rather wonderful Danny Goodwin. So you do have to come back and watch that, because it'll be wonderful. Yeah, overdoing it?
Great. Yes. Yeah.
Am I overdoing it, or is this subtle enough?
No, I think it's great. If you're doing it in the middle of a YouTube videos, you might unintentionally have people actually go and click and watch that thing, which means it ends the viewing session in the middle of the video rather than at the end. But it's something that, this is what, I mean, you guys know probably more than most people I talk to, how like Google has so much data, and thankfully they make a lot of it available to us in YouTube Analytics. So we can see when that's happening. We can see in the audience retention graphs, click-through rates, like, ooh, this is actually creating abandonment right here. Or
yeah, that would be really interesting to look at that when I mentioned Jez Schultz and say, go and watch that. If there is a dip after a while with it.
There might be nothing at all. You're like, that's completely like, don't make any call to actions in the middle, because they don't work. And it actually just distraction, like, or you see the abandonment happen, but not the click-through rate go up. So people are just leaving the video because it makes them feel like content's over at that point instead. So all the data.
Sorry, can I ask a question then? Should I be saying stick around because coming up soon, Tim's going to talk about actually how to make money out of YouTube, or is going to stick around for see you on the next video, which you mentioned earlier on? Is that really useful?
It could be. That's better than just stopping, for sure. I think when it comes to a YouTube video, what I would do is, if we need to plug this thing in the middle, like it's a brand deal, a sponsorship or something like that, we have to do that plug in the middle in a way that it still feels like it's part of the content itself. Like, so for you did it, what you said, like, oh yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about next week when Goodwin is here. We're going to do that and the other thing. And then we're like right back into the content. So it's more kind of like parenthetical thought than it is like timeout, taking a break. We're going to make this announcement and then we'll be back type of thing, like television.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, because I actually, when I hear that, time out, we're taking a break, talking about the sponsor, I absolutely hate that. And I'm in a situation now where I'm much more into kind of that idea of saying, oh, this reminds me of that. And now we're back into the conversation. As you say, the conversation needs to keep moving because people switch off incredibly quickly. I mean, few seconds.
Yes. Well, yeah. So there's a, have you heard lean back versus lean in viewing experiences?
No.
Have you heard that?
Oh, but you can explain it quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Quickly.
Because you know all about this stuff. Brilliant.
Oh yeah. So a lean in viewing experience is like, actually, let's start with lean back. Lean back viewing experience is like television. It's like when people are just leaning back on their couches, they're kind of passively watching. They're usually multitasking. They've got their iPad on their lap, or they're eating dinner. They're talking to someone else in the room, but the TV's going. It's a very passive viewing experience. But lean in viewing experience, like YouTube and social media in general, like they're leaning in at their desk.
And for people listening to the podcast, Tim just leant into the camera.
Leaning in. Yeah, that's why I'm getting
Sorry,
louder.
I'll let you finish. Yeah, leaning in. So it's this active kind of viewing where I'm thinking, what am I going to be doing next?
Right. And so on television, people can kind of get away, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, with taking 3 minutes to kind of build up to something. But on YouTube, you got like 3 seconds to build up, and they're either swiping or they're double tapping to skip ahead or something. So they're very actively engaged with this content. A couple of years ago, actually it's many years ago now, I was out at Universal Studios on set with Jillian Michaels. You know who she is from The Biggest Loser?
No, but she's probably really famous, and I should have been really impressed, right?
Yeah, well, on television, this is the point. On television, she attracts 4 million people instantly, and then YouTube contracts her and a whole bunch of other celebrities to start their YouTube channels. And they thought back then this will give us more credibility and help our platform grow. Turns out it flopped. But so here's Jillian. YouTube's paying her to make one video every weekday. And so she's doing like 20 some videos a month. And the problem was, why can she attract 4 million people instantly on television? But then when it comes to YouTube, her top video had 2,500 views. Right. And they're like, why are people watching her there, but not here? And so I'm on set with her out there, and I was like trying to figure, because I like new problems, new challenges. And so I was trying to figure this one out. And it was very much of and this is what a mistake a lot of people make when they come to YouTube, is they're like, hey guys, I had an awesome day. You need to know all about it. Coming up right after this, like television style. But on YouTube, it's like, hey guys, how you doing? It's just so good to see you again. Man, I had an awesome day today. Like, how's your day going? Like Sarah commented yesterday, said that, Sarah, so good to hear from you. My day, and then it was a very different feel and tone. So one is like a presentation. The other is a conversation. And on social media, people come to YouTube not for every genre and every style and every creator, but as a general principle, they're coming for conversation. They don't. And so what Jillian couldn't make the switch to YouTube. She tried and just brilliant. So all of that, because she was speaking to a lean back viewing experience, where we're talking into a lean in viewing experience. So to answer your question, very lengthily, unfortunately, sorry about that, is that you got to hook and hold their attention within 3 seconds. That's like the goal.
Right. Okay. So basically, this is and was a conversation, and you turned it into a minor monologue there about Jillian Thingamy-Bob. That's all right. It's absolutely fine. And that's part of the conversation as well. Sometimes somebody holds the conversation for a while, then it's somebody else's turn. Now it's my turn, and you're not having the conversation back. I'm going to stick this one out. Anyway. Sorry, I'm being silly, but that was absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's all we've got time for today. We were supposed to be talking about actually monetizing it and not breaking a YouTube channel. But the nice thing about a conversation is that it can go to this point where we just talk about different things and end up somewhere we didn't expect to be. That was absolutely brilliant, Tim Schmoyer. I'm going to quickly announce Danny Goodwin next week, so do come back for that, for the content, updating content and an SEO strategy. That's going to be absolutely awesome, because he's a lovely guy, very smart, knows his stuff, one of my favorite people. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
You get the outro song as well. Don't go away before you've heard that, anybody.
Yeah.
A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks a lot.